Okay, here we are. This is the story about Glenn the car. Car did not run when I got it, and the first thing I checked was fuel pressure. It had no fuel pressure, and this little part here is a regulator. I ended up replacing that, and then we had pressure, and it would start and run. Then had an awful nasty noise coming from this thing, some kind of an air pump for the emissions, so I took this thing off for the moment. I'm going to probably look for another one in the future. This is just had to put a shorter belt on. The belt was okay, but it put a shorter one on. And then once I got it running a little more, there was a miss, so I put on some new spark plugs, and it still wasn't quite right, and there's these three boots that go below the coils. Did replace that, and then that got the miss out of it pretty good, and drove it some. And then the next thing that showed up was on the right or the left driver's side, the shock on the rear was bad. So we put this thing on, and that improved quite a bit. And then the second last thing, the blower would just run constantly. So I got a different blower. The motors probably still would go yet, but it was on its last legs. It's kind of loose in the mount, or loose in the bearings. And this thing here, this controlling part, was not good either. So I replaced both of those things, and now the blower works the way it should. And the final thing was the antenna. The radio didn't work so good. And between this car and another diesel I have, which is not running yet, put together enough parts to make the antenna work. And that's the story of Glenn. I'll have a little more, I think, after this.